The power of belief versus the certainty of knowing. Knowing is the destination. Belief is the highway to the destination. To know, you must first travel the highway of belief, and eventually you should end up at the destination. And once you make it to the destination, you can forget about the highway you took to get there because you're not going back. This was a one-way trip. This is something that I've come to realize the difference of over the past year. Belief is fundamentally flawed because to believe means to not know something for sure. Belief means to believe in something that you do not have proof of. Belief means to have faith in what is not known. Knowing means to have proof or verifiable evidence of something that is the truth. When someone says that they believe in God, it means that they do not know for certain that God exists. A good example of this would be to say, do you believe that if you put your hand on a stove that is hot, that you will get burned? Or do you know that if you put your hand on a stove that is hot, you'll get burned? In this context, belief cannot be relied upon 100% for your safety and overall well-being. It is the same way in life. Belief will only get you so far. If you believe that the stove will burn you and you don't touch it, then your belief served you well. But wouldn't you rather know objectively than be forced to rely on belief, which is subjective? That is the point that I've gotten to in my own journey. I went from studying the laws of attraction to hermetic principles to manifestation and a bunch of other things that all led me to now know that there is another force at play outside of what can be seen by my eyes and my senses. Belief is powerful because it is a step in the right direction. Believing is better than not believing. I would rather you believe that the stove is hot than not believe it and burn yourself. But ultimately, I would like you to study the laws of thermodynamics so that you can objectively know that the stove is hot, and therefore you can avoid it at all costs, knowing the nature of its properties. To know means to have proof, and the only way to have proof of something is to study it. This is how it worked for me. I've studied spiritual principles enough to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is something surrounding us that we cannot see. And that knowledge has given me the courage to walk into the unknown with confidence, knowing that although I cannot see it, I know something has my back and that something is there with me. When I used to believe, there was always room for doubt, speculation, and for disbelief, because heck, how the hell do I know for sure that what I believe is real? I didn't have the proof to back it up. This is why I always had a hard time believing in religions. None of them were presenting proof. It was all belief. And if you do not believe what they believe, then you were a bad person. I needed proof. That is one of the biggest coups of religious practices. They have led people to believe in God rather than to know God. In Kemetic culture, and before that, God was taught as being a fundamental aspect of reality, the underlying principle behind all there is. When a scientist studies something, does he or she rely on belief about said thing, or do they continuously study until they have proof that said thing is said thing? It's the same way for all other people. We need proof to be able to move in certainty. We can't operate solely in just belief and be operating with all of our true power. There will always be that sense of, what if this isn't real? What if I really am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? What if this is all some bullshit and I'm just believing in something that doesn't exist? So anyways, I just wanted to write this quick article about a thought I had regarding the difference between belief and knowing. I feel fortunate to have learned the truth and now operate in the know. It is definitely a benefit one receives from traversing the unknown. Go deep for yourself, unlearn what you have been taught to believe, and relearn the truth so you can know what the hell's going on. Once you know, you know. To know is greater than to believe. Until next time. P.S. I know what you did last summer. Lastly, check out Metu Neter if you want to know God.
Metu Neter, Volume 1, The Great Oracle of Tehuti and the Egyptian System of Spiritual Cultivation, by Ra-Ahmed Nefer. Author's Preface. The Divine Plan. We live in a world that was created and is maintained by the unified working of a multiplicity of agencies. We live in a world that is composed of a multiplicity of entities that are unified through a web of interdependence. In the infancy of his spiritual evolutionary career, man is unable to perceive the hidden forces and abstract principles that unify the working of the shaping forces of the world and the entities that make up the world. He creates, therefore, a way of life, systems of religion, science, economics, government, education, family, philosophy, etc., that is incapable of establishing and maintaining unity, law, order, peace, harmony in the world. Thus, the world has been plunged and is sinking deeper day by day into the jaws of death. It is true that he has amassed a great number of facts concerning the workings of nature and a great collection of ideas concerning religion and so on. But the possession of a mass of facts, however reliable the facts are, does not constitute the possession of a science, nor does the possession of a collection of ideas about religion constitute the possession of a religion. For the knowledge contained in these facts regarding nature and these ideas concerning religion does not embody the principles that are necessary to unify the facts and ideas. It is only when the facts concerning nature or the ideas about religion are linked to each other and to the whole that a science or a religion is formed. Man's perception of the world, however, cannot change the reality that the world is shaped and maintained by a unified multiplicity of agencies, and that the world is made up of an infinitude of interdependent entities. This reality has been known to Black and Oriental cultures and ignored by Westerners as far back as history can take us. The Black nations of antiquity, through the cultivation of the science of inducing the state of waking trance, which enables man to perceive the working of abstract principles and the hidden shaping forces of the world, were able to create a way of life systems of religion, science, philosophy, government, and economics, etc., that was capable of establishing and maintaining unity, and thus led to the creation of civilization. Unity, harmony, and order in society cannot be achieved through the making of laws by man and the policing of people's behavior. As man's life on earth is a product of the Supreme Being's creative process, every aspect of man's life is therefore controlled by the divine creative agencies. Unity and thus prosperity in society can only be achieved by man's efforts to intuit the knowledge of how the divine agencies are shaping his life, i.e., to intuit the knowledge of the divine plan. It follows logically that the divine plan would contain the knowledge of the unifying principles of the multiplicity of shaping forces of the world and of the entities making up the world. Through it, all things and events in the world were unified. Religion with science, with government, with philosophy, with medicine, and so on. Man with nature, with God, etc. It achieved this monumental accomplishment by assigning to each event, force, entity, and idea a place in space, hierarchy, rank, and time. It is the purpose of this book to give the reader a working knowledge of this system. The divine plan is presented in this book, not as the museum pieces that are the delight and folly of historians, but as a system to be lived. The jab at historians was thrown both in jest and in seriousness. The fun side is dictated by the fact that they have cumulatively amassed a great deal of facts on our past, for which we must be grateful. The other side is dictated by the fact that although most historians of religious subjects know of their lack of first-hand experience of the religious phenomena they report on, it does not stop them from arrogating to themselves the aura of authoritativeness in reporting, explaining, and passing judgments. Although the material in this book has the full support of historical documentation, I am writing foremost as a priest of over 20 years of practice. I am here presenting a practical syncretism of the best that the Kemetic, ancient Egyptian, the Dravidian, Black India, and the Canaanite, true authors of Kabbalah, religions have to offer. They were among the 6 nations that laid the foundation of civilization, but it would be folly on our part to merely document this fact and to compile and explain a list of who, when, why, and what. Would it not be a sign of intelligence to be more interested in the methods employed by them for the creation of civilization, that we may learn and apply them to its recreation? If the religious and philosophical systems of ancient civilizations were so great, why aren't we practicing them? Yes, in this volume, one of many, as the topics are too broad to be fully explained in one book, I have given the world the means through which everyone can discover the links between all aspects of life, the means of discovering the plan, the structural continuum that the